Hi, my name is Zach, and in this video, I'm going to show you how you can create a workflow that allows you to update deal information through Slack. And in this specific video, I'm going to show you how to do that using Zapier. Now, we're going to be using Google Sheets to basically hold all of our deals in this specific workflow. And so this is a pretty simple way about doing it and is a pretty quick and easy way for you to go ahead and get started, especially if you're not used to using like CRMs. Maybe your business is just now starting to build and grow, or maybe it's your first foray into actually tracking your sales prospects and deal information electronically. Whatever the case may be, Google Sheets can be a really good tool for doing that when you're first getting started. However, you can also modify this workflow to use HubSpot or Salesforce or another CRM tool if that is what you're currently using. But in today's specific scenario here, we're just using Google Sheets. And as you can see here, I have it pulled up and I have a couple of deals here, John Jones and Mike Smith, and they both have a couple of next steps. So as you can see, it's a pretty simple deals sheet, and the name of it is Deals Test. And what our goal is that we want to be able to go ahead and go over to Slack and type in like deal name dash John Jones, next steps, send proposal. And it's not going to do anything right now, but what we want it to do is whenever we submit this, that it automatically goes to the Google Sheet, finds the person we typed in, and then update it with the next steps. So let's go ahead and delete this message. And let's get started. So the first thing we're doing is we have a step here that's going to be looking for a new message posted to a channel in Slack. And so if we look over here, the public channel I have selected is testing zone. And I also have it set so it doesn't trigger for bot messages. I only want it to trigger if a real person actually sends the message. And I also have it set to not use raw data because I do not want kind of the raw data, if you will. I want Zapier to format it so that it's able to flow nicely to the rest of the steps. All right, and this is just an example that we have here. It looks similar to what we were looking at before. This one is deal name, John Jones, and next step sent contract. And it's already showing up here because I had already gone through these steps and tested each one. So that's why this is showing up here. But when you're setting it up, you'll have an option to test this step. All right, and then the next step here is that we're going to be doing a filter by Zapier step. And we're going to verify the deal name and next steps exist. So this is just a title that I typed in here. You can click on these three dots, hit rename to change it to whatever you want it to be whenever you're going through this. That's just why I decided to name it so that it's very clear what this is filtering. And if we go to the configure and test section, you'll see that it's only going to continue. The rest of the steps in this app are only going to continue if the text in the message that is from step 1 in Slack contains deal name and if it contains next steps. So if there's any other messages going through the channel that do not match these filter requirements, then it's not going to go through the rest of the steps. It will have to match these requirements in order for the rest of the steps to go through. And then the next step we have here is a formatter by Zapier step. And we're going to use the text action event. And then if we go over here to configure, we have selected extract pattern, which you can also see just right over here. And this allows us to use a regular expression or what's also known as regex so that we can find specific details from the text that's being provided. And so what we've done is for the input, we're still getting the text of the message similar to the filter step, but we're also using this pattern. And I'm going to have this pattern listed in a description below so you could go ahead and copy it, but you can also make your own regex pattern as well. There's a few different articles and stuff on how you can do that, but honestly, what I find to be really easy to kind of help develop these patterns is to just go to ChatGPT or Gemini, use whatever AI tool that you like, and say what you want basically the regex to do and ask it to create the regex for that. And so in this specific pattern that I have here is that we're looking for first the word deal, and then we don't really care if there's like 1 space, 2 space, however many spaces in between deal and name. And then we're also checking for name. And then again, this part is checking, just saying, hey, regardless of how many spaces are there, continue. And then we're looking for either a dash or a semicolon right after deal name. And this will also work if there's just like a space as well, if it's not a dash or a semicolon. So you actually have like 3 different ways that you could do that. And then again, we don't care how many spaces are after that. And then we're going to grab the details afterwards. So in this case, after deal name, we want to get the actual deal name. So if it's John Jones, we want to grab that information as well, which is what this section does. And then we're checking kind of what we did here before. Is pretty much the same thing, just repeated, but instead of deal name, we're checking for next steps. And again, we are skipping however many spaces are there. Looking for a dash, colon, or spaces will also work. And then we want to pull in what the actual next steps are. So that's send a proposal, schedule a follow-up call, whatever it may be, we want to capture that information. And we went ahead and set it to not match all, no multi-line, but we do have yes for the dot all. And what this does is it allows us to do like, let me go back over here and show you. And the example that we have, I have it on 2 separate lines. So by having this option selected, let me go ahead and pull it back up again. Having dot all selected, it allows the wildcard to match across lines when a new line break is being used. And this is just basically the code for the line break /n. So without that, if you were to put them on separate lines, like deal name, next steps, like I have here, it's not going to match the regex that we have in step 3. But since we have that added, it will work for this, as well as if you just put it all on one line. So if you just had it deal name John Jones and next steps and contract all on the same line, it will also work. And then I also have it set to ignore the case. So regardless if it's all lowercase, uppercase, or a mixture of the two, it will still go through. And actually, let me go back over here and I'll show you what this looks like using the example that we were just looking at before from the Slack message. You see it gives us 4 different outputs labeled output 0 through 3 with deal name, John Jones, next steps, and send contract. And then the next step we have here is a Google Sheets lookup spreadsheets row step. And what this is going to do is that it is going to check the deals test spreadsheet that we have over here. And it's going to look at worksheet sheet 1, which is what this is labeled. And then we're going to use the deal name for the lookup column. And we're going to find what the deal name is that was provided in the Slack message, which we have mapped here from that regex expression from step 3. If you click on the plus button and go down here, you can map output 1, and that is going to be the actual deal name that we're going to use for the lookup value. And now down here, there is an option to create a spreadsheet row if it doesn't exist. So if you want it to only update on currently existing deals. You don't want any new deals to be added this way. You would go ahead and uncheck this box. But if you want to be able to add new deals, so let's say, hit a wrong button. If you want to, let's say, add like Sally Smith, for example, on here, and Sally Smith doesn't exist yet, what would happen if you don't have this checked is that it just wouldn't add anything there. It would just say, hey, it didn't find the spreadsheet row, so it'll just skip the rest of the steps, so nothing would really be done. But with this checked, the create Google Sheet spreadsheet row, if it doesn't exist yet, what it will do is that it will add Sally Smith to the spreadsheet row. And now I don't have anything set for next steps here, and that's because we're going to do that in step 5 in the update spreadsheet row. So let's go ahead and go to step 5, and as you can see, we're using the update spreadsheet row action event. And we're using the same spreadsheet, deals test, same worksheet, and we're pulling in the row, the actual row we're looking for, from step 4 when we looked up the spreadsheet row that corresponded to the deal name. And so if you just click on like the plus button, I already have it done here, but you can map in this field right here where it says row. And then what we're going to do is we're going to leave the deal name blank because that shouldn't change. And then we have next steps. And so we have mapped in here output 3 from step 3 where we do the regular expression. And then lastly, what we're doing here is we are sending a channel message in Slack just saying that it has been updated, so you get a confirmation. And it says there's a possible Zap loop detected. Go ahead and ignore this because what we have set up here is that it's only going to go through if the deal name and next steps exist. So we're not going to actually be matching that format. Like there isn't going to be the deal name listed here and next steps inside the text message. Like it's not actually going to pass through this filter. So even though it will technically be a new message, it's not going to trigger the rest of these steps here. The only reason it does that is because it's starting with a new message and then it's ending with a send channel message. It would also do it if you added another like send channel message in here as well. But it's just kind of looking out for you. So you just want to be extra careful whenever you see that message that you're not triggering a Zap loop, which again, we're not going to be doing in this Zap. So right here, we have it going to the testing zone. And then for the message, we have it saying deal, and we're pulling in output 1, which is the deal name from step 3 where we do the regular expression. So where it says John Jones. And then we're pulling in the row number from step 5. And we're just saying that it was updated successfully. And then we have a link here to the actual Google Sheet as well, so you could just click on it and directly go there. And we have it set to send as a bot, so it's pretty clear that this came from an automation. It wasn't a specific user that made this. And I have the bot name set to deal update bot. And I don't have a bot icon selected, so that's just going to use the default Zapier bot icon, but you can definitely change this if you want to, make it a little more personalized. And then I have it including a link to the Zap. And where this is handy is, let's say that maybe the Zap does something that you didn't expect it to do. It looks like it updated the wrong deal name or provided wrong next steps for whatever reason. You would have a easy link that you can click on to see the Zap history, to see what exactly happened. It also gives you a quick way to be able to edit the Zap as well. If you are like, oh, I want to change, like for example, this message here, I want it to be a little different. It gives you an easy way to do that without you having to go into Zapier, find the Zap manually that the message is associated to, which can become a big problem, especially if you have a lot of Zaps and you're also using a lot of Zaps inside of Slack. So recommend using that just as kind of like an easy way to find it, but not a requirement. And then if we look down here, I added, it's called TS, which is the timestamp from the message in step 1 to the thread field here. And what this does is that it allows this message to be a reply to the original message, so it's part of a thread. So that way, you don't have two messages in the channel each time. It'll be kind of consolidated into one message inside of a thread. So it makes it a little easier for you to kind of go through and see it, and also not have the entire channel being overwhelmed with just a ton of these update messages, and making it harder for you to find other relevant messages in the Slack channel if you use it for more than just this individual purpose of just updating deals. So with that being said, let's go ahead and test this out. So I'm going to type in the deal name, and let's do a new person. Let's do Sam Doe. And then we're going to do next steps. And if you look here, I'm using 2 different punctuations. I'm doing colon here, doing dash there, also different capitalization, just to highlight that this works. And we're going to say, we're going to send a proposal. All right, and now this is using a instant trigger. You can see that right over here with the little, let me zoom in a little bit more. Yep. So we zoom in here, we see the little lightning icon, and if we hover over it, it says that this is an instant trigger. So it should happen pretty quickly. You're not going to be waiting minutes, probably just a matter of a few seconds. And if we look over here at the Google Sheet now, we see that it has added Sam Doe, and it has the next steps of send a proposal. And if we look back in Slack, we see the reply here in the thread view. So it's not a completely separate message. And you can see here it says deal Sam Doe was found on row 4 and updated successfully in Google Sheets. And it has a link which takes me to that Google Sheet file that we were just looking at. And now let's go ahead and just do one more where we're actually just going to update an existing record. So we got Mike Smith here with a scheduled follow-up, and I am going to change this. So let's do deal name, Mike Smith, and next steps. And we're going to say that we're going to schedule onboarding. All right, and if you look here, you'll see that I did not include any kind of punctuation there. It's just like a space. Doesn't have the colon or the dash. But as you can see down here, it still ran. Deal Mike Smith was found on row 3 and updated successfully. Let's click the link again. And you can see here, we have it, Mike Smith, schedule onboarding. And that is it. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video and that you find this workflow really helpful. Again, this is just an example of this kind of workflow that you can use. You don't have to use Slack. You can use a different messaging app if you want to. Slack is really popular. So that's why I went ahead and used it here. But definitely feel free to change it up, make it your own. Again, you don't have to use Google Sheets. You could use HubSpot, Salesforce. Any of those are going to be a little bit different, but the same general concept of how we built this workflow is going to be the same. So it's just going to need a few minor tweaks here and there for whatever apps that you choose. And again, I hope you found this helpful. Hope you enjoyed it. Go ahead in the comments, let me know what future automations that you may be looking for. I'm definitely looking to pump out some more videos, go over some more workflow options here for you, but I really want to make sure that I'm maximizing my impact for you and that you're actually getting workflows that you find helpful and useful to you. So definitely would appreciate those comments. If you want to see me do the same thing, but in Make, go ahead and check out the video I have on that. It's going to be either somewhere around here or down in the description below. And have a great rest of your day.